The story takes place cross-country season when I was a junior in high school. My fastest 5K that I had run my previous year was 15:58, and I had finished 26th at our state open meet. But this junior year, I was on fire in the early cross-country season. In all of the kind of dinky little small dual meets, I was winning the races. I had won every single dual meet heading into our league meet, and I was a heavy favorite to finish in the top 2 or the top 3 there. And this is where the story really begins, guys. The day before this league meet, I got so nervous. I don't think I slept a wink the night before the race, and I felt like there was all this built up pressure on me to perform well, to run fast, to have a good race and beat people, that it just tormented me. It ruined me, and it really showed in the race, because on race day, I felt horrible. I was scared. I felt like my emotions were amplified in a bad way. I felt like I felt pain 10 times more than I usually felt. And long story short, me, a junior in high school, I was favorite in this race, ended up finishing in 37th place at just our league meet. 37th place, I ran 17:23. Actually, one of my high school teammates ended up beating me. Shout out Justin Hotzel. The reason I want to tell this story is because I know that a lot of you guys have bad races, and I'm a good runner. I was really good in high school, not the best. There's a lot of people out there who are better at running than I am, but I'm just saying that bad races happen, and sometimes they're really hard to prevent. Looking back, the only thing I could have done to have run faster in that race and do better was to not be as nervous and not care as much. But it's impossible to really almost care less about something when you're nervous, and it's really just difficult. So anyway, I'm just here to tell you guys that the bad races really can happen, and don't feel ashamed after a really bad race that your season's over, because you can come back. So the next part of this story is 1 week after I finished 37th place at our league championship meet. It's called the FCAC. I finished 37th there, and then the next week it's a step up from the league meet. It's the state class meet. Top 12 move on and get to race at the state open, which is all the best people in the state. So again, state class, even though I'd run so bad at the FCAC meet, I was favored to get at least top 3 at the state class meet. And again, I was so nervous that I wasn't going to qualify and I was going to blow up again and finish in 37th place that I was just overthinking everything. And when the gun went off in that race at the state class meet, again, I felt terrible, but this time I was able to clutch up and finish a little bit better. Actually, a lot better than 37th place. I finished in 8th place at this race. I ran 16:26 to finish in 8th place overall to qualify for the state open meet. A meet that should have been very easy for me to qualify for. Again, another really bad race. So we had that league meet where I had a bad race, and we had the state class meet where the race was better, but still bad. Finally, at our state open meet, I was able to go into the race. Actually, my dad told me going in, he said, "Hey man, stop worrying about the time, stop worrying about the place, stop worrying about everything else around you, all these uncontrollables. Have fun. Go out there and literally just run hard, because you love to do this. You love running, you love competing with people, and some people might just beat you on the day. It's okay." And I went out that day, and all of a sudden I felt good. Found myself in the top 10 in the first half of the race, and then to my surprise, somehow pulled off out of my ass a 5th place finish at the open state meet, which was kind of where I thought I should have been. But those 2 previous races before were so bad that my confidence was super shaken up. But I was still able to believe, still able to know that I was a good runner and pull it out when it really mattered most. Guys, I quickly want to give a shout out to HVMN and Ketone IQ, my longtime sponsors. Because of sponsors like them, it keeps my channel alive and going and keeps the dream alive. Ketone IQ is a 70-calorie drink you can take with ketones. It's not carbs, it's not protein, it's its own thing. It's ketones. Use it with carbs, dual fuel. It's the future. Plenty of pro runners are using it now, and cyclists and endurance athletes. Link will be down below with my discount code. Phenomenal product. Now back to the video. So you can have real big blow up races. They sometimes just happen and there's nothing you can do about it except move on. For me in that season, it took me 2 races to kind of get that confidence back. I had the super big blow up at the league meet, finishing 37th. Then the next week, I kind of half bounced back to 8th place in a race. And then when it really mattered most, in the most important, biggest, most competitive race, I finally was able to pull out that 5th place finish. Sometimes it's unexplainable why you run bad, but don't worry about it and move on. Don't try to dwell on the past. Don't try to make excuses for why you ran bad. There's obviously some things you can change, like, okay, if you have a bad stomach ache before a race because you ate like McDonald's an hour before, maybe don't eat McDonald's the next time you race. But outside of that, sometimes you're just gonna have a day where you go out there and totally just whiff and miss. And looking back now as a 26-year-old, I felt like I wasted so much emotional energy as a kid on these races that really, at the end of the day, it wasn't just the race that was fun. It was spending time with my teammates. It was having fun on the bus, messing around, trolling people, doing all these fun things, going to talk to the other competitors that we're gonna race against, making friends. So when you look back 10 years from now on how your cross-country careers ended up, you're not gonna be thinking about the races themselves. Those are definitely fun moments, but again, the things that you're gonna be thinking about and cherish for the rest of your life are the experiences that you shared with your teammates, your coaches, your friends, your family, and etc. So try to just soak it all in and enjoy what you do as a competitor in cross country. I think cross country gets a bad rap as a kind of nerdy sport, but I think you guys all know that cross country is one of the most brutal, hard, and demoralizing sports out there. At the end of the day, it's sort of all on you. You know, if you have a bad night and you're on a baseball team, it might not matter. Or if you're playing soccer and you're a left midfielder and you have a bad game, your team could still win. They could still pull out that win. But in running, when you have a bad day, everyone knows. The result is the result. Everyone sees it. You know it, you see it yourself. So there's no one really to blame but yourself. There's so many ups and then there's so many downs as well. And it causes a lot of self-hate. It causes a lot of insecurities. It causes a lot of depression amongst, many young track and field and cross-country athletes. I really hope that you guys try not to take each individual result super seriously. I hope coaches out there aren't just yelling at you after every bad race you have, because sometimes it can just happen, and you can always bounce back with a little bit of positive support and just taking sort of that extra weight and pressure off of your chest, because that type of stuff is very unneeded, I think, for many people. I think that we think that we need this tough love. In reality, I think that just having fun, enjoying what you're doing, and then trying to stay healthy is the best thing you can do to be successful as a cross-country runner. So if I had to go back 10 years to when I was a junior in high school, I would tell myself after I ran that really bad race to just not worry about it, keep my head up from there, shrug it off, and move on, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be okay after a bad race. Don't worry about having bad races. They happen to the best of us. I want you guys to comment down below now a story when you had a bad race and then when you popped back and came back after one, just so the community can see that it happens and that you can get better, you can learn something from a bad race. So with that, guys,
last night took a L, but tonight I bounce back.